Welcome to another Millionaire Profit Systems production. This video is going to show you how you can write articles and construct great quality articles that people are going to love to read, and that's going to get you some good traffic from Google. Now, article writing has changed over the last couple of years as Google has really changed what it's looking for. Now, before, what you do is you stuff keywords into your article, and you weren't that focused on quality. Unfortunately, now Google are much more interested in the quality of the article rather than the quantity. They're looking for a good length of article. They don't want a short sort of 300-400 word article, because frankly, as far as Google's concerned, that's a bit too short. Really, they want much more than that. Now, on your front page of your site, you want to have between 1,000 and 2,000 words of unique content. Google loves to see that. A good length like that is nice. It shows Google that you've got some good quality content on there. There's plenty of chances for it to work out what your website's about, and it's going to help you get ranked a lot better. Now, your internal pages, by all means, they can be shorter. They can be sort of 5,000 to 1,000 words, around about that. Now, what you can do, and one of the things that a lot of the major sites are doing, if you go through some of the big authority sites, they've all started doing this. Instead of having their 1,000 words of content all on one page, what it's done is it's split between two, so that's, or even three, depending on how long the article is. Sometimes it can be more. Now, the reason for this is you read the first few hundred words, you click next, you move on. It means that the pages aren't too long for someone to read. People don't like going through pages and pages of information. It's not enjoyable. Most people won't read it. So breaking it up like that makes it easier for people to read. But the benefit for you is it keeps visitors on your site longer. Now, that's one of the measures that Google uses in ranking your website. The length of time people stay there. So if somebody comes to your website and then they disappear off again very quickly, that's a big negative for you, because obviously, as far as Google's concerned, you're obviously not relevant for that keyword because someone hasn't stayed on your site. So what they like to see is people going through your website, visiting multiple pages. That tells Google that your website is relevant for that keyword, and of course Google are going to put you higher up in the search engine rankings because of it, which of course is a real benefit for you. So your articles now, you could get away with, poor quality articles, spun articles, articles in, poor quality English. Unfortunately, nowadays you can't. Google are a lot smarter in interpreting what you put on your website. They've obviously developed their algorithms a bit more, but also the reader is a lot more well versed in what to look for. They expect better quality from a website. 5-10 years ago, there wasn't that many websites, and many of them were hobby or poor quality. But now the internet is big business. Everyone has a website. All the businesses have websites. So conversely, Google expects to see good quality content, and your readers do too. So if you provide them with an article in poor quality English, they're not going to stay, let alone complete an action that you want them to do. So how do you write a decent quality article? Well, an article is made up of a number of components. The first component is the title. Now, the title has to be interesting, grab attention. You don't want something boring, like that people just look at and think it doesn't make any sense. It needs to really contain the keyword and also another keyword related to your niche. So you might talk about gas barbecue grills, how to cook the perfect burger, a perfect steak on your barbecue or your grill, something like that. So you've got multiple keywords in the title. The reason behind that is the title will appear in Google in the search results, and Google looks at that. So if the title's got the keywords in, it's going to help Google know what to rank your site for. It's not a major influencer, but it does help. And you've got to remember as well that when someone types something into the search engines, they're going to see your title of your website in that search engine result. So it's got to be something that means something to them and it's going to encourage them to come through to your website. So, in your title, you're almost pre-selling your website to get your visitors to click on it. So you've got to not only satisfy Google, but you also have to satisfy your customers too. The people that are searching, they need to be able to see it and go, wow, yeah, this is the right article for me. Because what most of us do is we browse the first few results or first page of results, and we click on the one that we judge to be the most relevant to our needs, which obviously is the one which the title and the first part of the description jumps out at us on. Now, the next part you need with your article is you need an introduction. Now, the introduction is very simple. It can be a paragraph, something like that. It's basically you're going to tell them what you're going to tell them in the article. And this is used to draw people in, get their interest, and basically make sure they read the rest of the article. So this bit really needs good concentration on. It needs to be well thought out. You need to really, make sure that, again, it's pre-selling the article, encouraging people to read what you've written and really get to grips with it. Once you've written the introduction, the next bit is the main body of content. Now, this is going to be as long as you need it to, but this needs to flow in like a story. So it needs to make sense. So it needs to lead on from your introduction, and it needs to flow through in perfect sense. There's no point you going through the main body of your content, jumping from A to E to D to Z to T to P, something like that, because it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. You follow it through in a sort of a nice, easy to follow manner. So go from A to B to C to D to E and so on, because that way it makes sense. It flows well in the eyes of your reader, and of course it looks good for Google as well, because Google will understand how the article flows and it makes more sense. And basically it's going to encourage people to take the action that you want them to do later on. Now, the next bit is sort of a summary. Now, in the summary, you will talk to them about what you've told them, sort of summarize a couple of the main points. And what you'll also tend to have in there is a call to action. Now, the call to action is very simply, it gets them to take an action you want them to do. Now, not all articles are going to have this. Some are purely informational. But in a lot of them, what you want is you want them to click on a link, buy a product, subscribe to a newsletter, whatever it might be. But you put that at the end, and again, you can pull it in and make it relevant to the article. So if, for example, you want them to subscribe to your newsletter, which is for a site about gas grills for barbecuing, you may have an article about a recipe, and at the end you may entice them to sign up for your email list, where they'll get more recipes or more tips for using a grill. Or you may direct them to a product, and the product's going to teach them more about it, or direct them to a actual gas grill on Amazon, something like that. So you summarize the article and include a call of action which directs people to where you want it to go. And that's basically the format for most articles. Now, there's plenty of other things you can do in an article. You can put in numbered lists, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, or bullet points, things like that. Those all help, and they can help to break up paragraphs of text and make it much more interesting. You can also, use subheadings as well. Now, the subheading should also include your keywords in, or a keyword ideally. The subheadings again can be used to break up your content. You don't have subheadings of introduction, main body and summary, but you may have the subheadings are relevant to the content that follows it. So you may have a subheading that's tips to avoid burning your steaks, and have some tips on that, or anything relevant like that. So the idea with that is it draws people in again, because they've seen lots of text and suddenly they see a headline and that grabs their attention, and then they read some more. Now, the subheadings will be smaller in size than the title. You typically use a H2 or even a H3 tag in on your website, whereas the title is typically H1. Once you've got the article together, then obviously you can post it on your website. But the article writing process doesn't have to be difficult. Now, you can outsource it if you want. Sites like iWriter, TextBroker, Elance, places like that, they all have very, very good writers on there, and they will happily write you articles. Obviously, it's going to cost you money. The better the writer, the more they're going to charge. Or you can write them yourself. You simply follow this little formula, and you write sort of 500 to 1,000 words, and you'll be surprised how easy it is. The introduction is normally 1 to 200 words. The summary is the same, and then the main body needs to be 600-700 words, and you're there with everything you need. Now, writing articles isn't difficult because, let's face it, you've got a fountain of information here with Google. So all you need to do is just go into Google and type in your keyword. So if I want to know how to make cook the perfect steak on the grill. Okay, so that we're going for that again. So if I do that, you can see here there's lots of things. There's videos, there's lots of recipes. So what I can do is I can look at these for information. Now, I don't want to be copying any of them, you know, word for word, because obviously that's bad, and that's going to get me hit with a duplicate content penalty, which Google is very, very hot on at the moment. So what I need to do is I can take one of these and I can pull some information out of it and then rewrite it completely. My personal method is I will use 2 words that are the same, but I will not use more than 3 words. So, for example, on the first sentence here where it says, just how do you grill the perfect steak, I wouldn't use the words in that order. I might rephrase that to, how can you grill the absolutely perfect, delicious steak, something like that. So that I'm not using the words in the same order. You really want to avoid the duplicate penalty, content penalty. So typically, no 3 words are the same. And that's going to really, really help you with getting good quality content. And to be really honest with you, anyone can rewrite one of these articles and come up with a great quality article all by themselves. It's not rocket science, and it really isn't hard to do. So it's very simple to put these articles together. So you just type your keywords into Google to get some ideas and then put it into this format. And once you've done that, you've got great quality content for your website. It's very, very easy and very, very quick to do. Now, the thing is if you know a lot about a subject, it's very easy to write an article about it. There's a lot of my hobbies. I could write articles day in and day out on them. But you asked me to write an article about how to appraise a diamond, I have no idea. I'd have to go and do some research, and this is pretty much what you do. You go and look in Google, you go and rewrite it. And that enables you to really work in any niche you want, and means you're not just limited to ones that you know something about. So it's very, very simple to do, very easy, and just follow this formula and you can construct a really, really good quality article that Google will love, your readers will love, and with any luck they will take the action that you want them to, and that's going to help to build your business and make you money.